Hi, Dave Kobilka here. The purpose of this video is to talk a little bit about the plate tectonics assignment, and specifically one particular part of the assignment that people have been asking about quite a bit. In this video, I assume that you already have looked at the maps that are associated with this assignment. You've looked at the color bathymetry map and understand it, how to use it and what it's telling you. You looked at the seismology map, understand it, what it's telling you, and the volcanology map, and you understand it and what it's trying to tell you. So you've looked at this map. Whoa. Let's back out of this. There we go. You've looked at this map. You've looked at this map. And again, I'll zoom out a little so you can get a better view of it. The volcanoes map, earthquakes map, and the volcanoes map right there. You've looked at this map. Also, that you've opened and have access to the map that you're going to color, which is this map right here. So I assume you already know about these things, and we're going to go from there. So the part that people are asking a lot about are the categories, question number 2, where it says devise a series of categories for different types of plate boundaries based on the data. The data are the maps. You should come up with between 3 and 6 categories. The goal is to have enough categories so that any of the plate boundary on the map is exactly one of your categories. Not more than one, not less than one. So each category is unique. Each plate boundary is unique to one of your categories. Each of your categories should be a description of plate boundary that includes the seafloor topography, volcanology, and the seismology. Examples of your descriptions. I give you a couple examples right here. Here's an example right here. It says plate boundaries with deep ocean trenches, many deep, intermediate, and shallow focus earthquakes, and many volcanoes. Here's another description. This is another example category. Plate boundaries along mid-ocean ridges, few and shallow earthquakes, and few or no volcanoes. Well, let's take a look at this in kind. So let's take a look at the first one. It says plate boundaries with deep ocean trenches. So let's go to the color bathymetry map and see if we can find a plate boundary with a deep ocean trench. I know where to look. South America. Western coast of South America, right here along the west coast of South America, where we have a deep ocean trench right there, which is exactly what we're looking for, deep ocean trench, and also a chain of mountains that parallel the deep ocean trench. So we found a deep ocean trench. Let's see what else that can show us. And it runs all up and down the spine of South America. We'll just pick, for giggles, we'll just pick this zone right in here. We'll focus on that area. Okay, so let's see what else we can say about this area. Volcanoes. So here's a volcanoes map, and I'm going to zoom into that area, get a closer look. Is it a volcano? You bet it is. It's very volcanic. Take a look. There's a strong chain of volcanoes in that same area where we just identified a trench. So this is a place where that category would describe exactly this place. What about volcanoes? It said many, or what about earthquakes? It said many earthquakes, deep, intermediate, and shallow focus. So that's right along the bend, just below the bend there. And let's see what we got all along that zone. Well, it would fall into that category if we take a look. We have shallow focus earthquakes. We got a lot of earthquakes. Holy cow, take a look at them. But we got the red shallow focus earthquakes. Let's zoom in some more and really get a close look at this. We got green, a lot of intermediate focus earthquakes, and then way out here we have blue earthquakes, which are the really deep earthquakes. So we got shallow, intermediate, and deep focus earthquakes in that zone. So that description, the description that we're talking about, plate boundaries of the deep ocean trench, lots of earthquakes at all depths, and lots of volcanoes. We could use that description to talk about that part of the world. So, now, what you're supposed to do then is indicate on this map what category each plate boundary belongs to. Now, what I'm talking about when I say plate boundaries are these heavy black lines. Those are the plate boundaries. So what you're going to color are those heavy black lines. You're not going to color in between. You're only going to color along the black lines. And every heavy black line on the planet, those are all the tectonic plate boundaries on the planet. Every inch of every tectonic plate boundary should fall into one of your 3, 4, 5, 6 categories, however many categories you come up with. Not less than 3, but not more than 6. You don't want to, you want to stick into that, keep it in that range. So I picked out a hypothetical category, and I said, well, where on Earth, what kind of plate boundary fits that category? And we said this area right in here. So let's say we're going to call that we're going to make that category red. So I would want to color that part of that plate boundary red. I can do it right on the computer. Let's see. I would click insert. I would click a shape. I would click a scribble. And then just very coarsely I would want to color that part of the plate boundary red. Now, once I've made that color, once I've colored the line, I can change it. So, shape fill, let's see. No, that's not right. Let's see. How do I color the line? Oh. There we go. Format shape. And line color. There we go. I'd pick a line color. Let's say I want to call that red. Boom. I've colored the line red. So there, I've picked out a category. I've identified a place on the Earth that fits that category, and I've colored it red. So now every place that fits that category along the plate boundaries, you would color that red. Let's take a look at another one. So go back to our description. I said, here's another example category. I said plate boundaries along mid-ocean ridges, few and shallow earthquakes, and few or no volcanoes. So mid-ocean ridge, middle of the ocean, right? That's what we're talking about here. So here's one mid-ocean ridge. That's a plate boundary. We really don't need to zoom in that much, but there it is. There's a ridge. I know it's a ridge because the water is a little bit shallower there along this line than it is over here or over here. This is pretty deep water. This is pretty deep water, but this is a lighter blue. In fact, this is a ridge that's probably 10,000 feet above the surrounding seafloor. So, it's like a mountain range. It's like the Rocky Mountains. It's just not as steep, but it's the similar kind of thing. But there's a mid-ocean ridge. Let's see where that was exactly. So that was right in here, just off the west coast of Africa, the east coast of South America, right off the Horn there. We'll pick that area there. What does that look like for volcanoes? This is easy. Not many volcanoes, almost no volcanoes. What about earthquakes? All of the earthquakes in that area are shallow, and there's a few, not as many as over here, so there's not loads, so we could say few shallow earthquakes. We said a mid-ocean ridge, few and shallow quakes, and few or no volcanoes. All right, we've got something going here now. So let's find our map again. I keep losing it. There it is, which is the one we colored. We just colored this one a little bit. And we said right in here, we said this is an area that has it's a mid-ocean ridge. There's not many earthquakes and not many volcanoes. Well, what color should we make that? Let's say that's going to be a blue line. So I'll go back to shapes, I'll find my little squiggle line, and I'll color this whole thing. I'll color that blue, and well, it's already blue, so I like a different kind of blue though. I like light blue. There we go. Well, not the best coloring job, but you get the idea. This plate boundary is completely different from that plate boundary. What's interesting about this is that you'll need more than just two categories. So for example, if I pick another plate boundary up here, if I look in this part of the world, what type of plate boundary is that? Well, let's go back to the volcanoes. For that part of Siberia. Well, what were we talking about? Right up in here? Is that what we're talking about? No earthquakes. What about volcanoes? Practically almost no volcanoes. And what about the color bathymetry for that part of the world? Where is that? Is it right along here? Right? Not much to talk about, is it? Right up through here. There doesn't seem to be a topographic expression for that plate boundary. So that might be another category. Plate boundaries where there are no earthquakes, no volcanoes, and almost no plate boundaries that cross continents where there is almost no expression on the land of that plate boundary. So there you go. That might be a third category that you're going to use, and then you could color that part of Siberia with, you could say that's purple or something. You could say, well, that's that type of plate boundary. So there's three categories right there. Well, three categories based on how I describe them. Will those three categories, will one of those three apply to anywhere on the surface of the Earth? Maybe. You have to look at the data, but that's what this assignment is about, is looking at the data. Have fun with it. Shoot questions to me if you have more. Otherwise, this is Dave Kabilka, and I will see you on the computer.